welcome back to the MANN channel. All right, another weekend down here at the shop and down to have some fun at the lake. You might notice behind me that I brought my dirt bike, and this is, I think, its debut on the MANN channel because I haven't said it or done anything about it on my channel yet. I've actually had it since March, so what is that, like, it's June 22nd today, so that's like 3 or 4 months. And I've gotten to ride it. I've been able to ride it a bit, but mostly just around my house. We have some good trails up on the cliffs that are near us there, and it's been pretty cool. This is the Talaria Sting, or Talaria, however you want to pronounce that. It's the MX3. There's actually a new version that's already come out since I bought this, but it's pretty cool. It goes 50 miles per hour. You can upgrade these, you can upgrade the controller, upgrade the batteries to make them go up to 80 miles per hour and just have a ton of torque. It's only like 130 pounds. I used to ride dirt bikes. I used to have a YZ250. And I remember the weight of that YZ250 was like 210 pounds. And you can get these to have relatively the same amount of power to weight ratio as a YZ, maybe not quite that much, but it gets pretty close. So they're pretty cool. And those of you who watch my channel a lot might remember that last year I was able to get out on some e-bikes like this with my buddy. They were Surons, and this is basically just another brand of kind of the same thing. The reason why I went with this is because they come stock a little taller, and I'm a tall guy, so and it's been pretty cool. It's been fun to ride. The only thing I've really done to upgrade it is I put a different sprocket on it to make it have a little bit more low-end torque. But maybe in this video you'll get to see me riding it around. I'm not sure. I brought it down here just in case because this weekend is supposed to be kind of crappy. Just all of June has been kind of crappy. So tomorrow evening I want to try to go out to the lake right after work, so around 5. It may or may not be, rainy or thunderstorming, so we'll see. I figured if that doesn't work out, I might take my bike out. Saturday it's supposed to rain all day, so I may not be doing anything other than kind of working on the shop that day, but we'll see. I just brought it down just in case there's a chance to get out, and I may leave it down here for this next week, or I may take it back and forth, because a lot of times when I find time to ride this thing is in the evenings during the week. That's when I've been doing most of the riding I've done on it, but I haven't ridden it for probably a solid 3 or so weeks, maybe 4 weeks, because we've been coming down to the shop so much. Pretty much ever since Memorial Day weekend. So that is about 4 weeks or a month. I haven't been riding it too much because we've been down here a lot. So, and that's going to continue through Labor Day. So I'm not sure how much riding I'll do on it, but I will include it in some videos where I do ride it. I'm just going to be unloading it and parking it here in the shop for now. Otherwise, I really didn't bring down much, and that's one of the reasons why I brought the bike, is because this is the first weekend in a long time visiting the shop that I haven't had the back of my truck full of stuff that I needed. And that's because I'm nearing completion. My last video, I basically finished up the interior trim. But when we left here, I realized I forgot the hall closet, so the upstairs hall closet. So I'm going to start with that tonight. That'll be really quick. And then I'm going to start working on the closets. I have some shelving to build out in the master closet. I really have shelving to do in each closet, but this is shelving beyond the basic shelf with the rod, which I'm going to do in most of the closets. I'm going to do a little step shelving where there's a 45-degree kind of edge in the master closet, and I'll show that to you. It'll make more sense when you see it. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm really contemplating redoing my outside corners, which I'll show you here. So Yeah, I'm really contemplating redoing these outside corners because one of the things is, I mean, it actually doesn't look bad. I actually kind of like it, but it's not great. But I just know that anybody who walks in here that has done any trim in their life is going to go, what is going on with that? And I'll go ahead and give you a close-up. So what I did is I basically made it to where I could put a straight flat piece in the middle, and then I cut off the ends of these two boards to make it fit, and then I just sanded this so it's nice and smooth, which honestly is probably a smoother result than if I would have just done a 22.5 degree cut here on this board, on both ends and here. So basically 22.5 degrees all the way around, because this is 45 right here. I was just trying something new. I've done that in my current house that I live in Billings with MDF, but the thing about MDF is you caulk it and you paint it. So then you can't even, it looks totally finished once you do that, because then you don't see any of the seams. But when you're just doing, we're just doing clear coat on this, and or might be the same as staining interior trim, then you can fill those seams with wood putty, and then it kind of helps, or you can glue them, and it helps keep them together. But I was trying something new. I wanted to see how it would work out, and like I said, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. I think the seams are nice and tight, but you can kind of see here, and this is just because these are 3 different boards, and you probably should cut it out all the same board. It kind of steps down, and this one just doesn't look quite as good. But anyways, I'm still thinking about it, because it really doesn't look bad. It's like I said, I just know that if a contractor came in here, I'm going to Airbnb this, so if somebody came in here that's done trim before, that's probably going to kill them. They're probably going to see that and go, what is going on here? But it really, it's kind of one of those things I'm teetering on, because it really does not look too bad. Here's the other one, and there's one more upstairs. And it really wouldn't take me that long to redo these. What I would do is I'd just pull all these pieces off, and I'd probably recut this, because 22.5 would take it right to here. And then I'd just do new boards to go around, and I'd try to use the same board to do all of these, so they all match up. Because one of the things you notice right here is that this one is also a little shorter. It's got a little space at the bottom. Anyways, I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. I'm still thinking about that. But I'm going to go ahead and unload my bike and then start working. Good morning. So, as suspected, it is just a very rainy day and rainy weekend for that matter. There was a very small chance to get out on the water last night, but it had rained all day, and I'm kind of sick of, you know, on the way to the lake there's a clay refinery plant, and whenever it's wet right there, a bunch of clay gets on the trailer and the boat. And I actually brought the pressure washer down this weekend so I could clean that up off the trailer. But anyways, you know, there was a moment where there was probably like a 2-hour moment yesterday or evening when there was no rain and it was calm, but there was clouds all around. Had just a big thunderstorm had just gone through, and I was in the middle of working on this closet door I'm about to talk about that was super frustrating. So I just decided to keep on going, try to finish that up. And today I think it's going to rain all day. It's just after 8 in the morning. Normally we're at the lake launching by now, but it's windy and rainy, and not looking like it's going to let up. So last thing you saw, I think, was me putting these two doors together, but you may not notice I switched one out, and it's because I did the whole closet door that I'm going to show you in our master bedroom yesterday, and that's most of what you would have saw in the recent clips. And it was just frustrating the crap out of me. The problem is the rail that I bought, the barn door hardware that I bought is junk. So I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to recommend that you don't ever buy that type of rail. But I made it work. I made it work nonetheless, but I just would never do that again. Luckily, the rails I bought and the hardware I bought for this one, all the rest of the closets that are doing barn doors should be better, but I'm going to find out today. This particular one is going to be a bypass. That means these doors will be able to go in front of each other. But anyways, when I was putting together the second door last night, something felt off, and then when I was laying in bed last night before we went to sleep, I realized that you know, you can see there's 5 sets of screws here. Yeah, 5 sets of screws on this cross member here. But the door that was sitting here last night that I last put together only had 4. And I was like, wait a second. So I ran in here to look and realized, oh, it's a smaller width. And I ordered these doors so long ago, I didn't remember that I did order a smaller one for our master, which makes sense because when I was done in there, the opening was not much, like you know, goes to the side. I knew I wouldn't be able to open it all the way, but the opening to get in the closet was kind of small. It was doable, but it was just kind of weird. But anyways, I realized that, so then I just decided last night, I hurried up and I switched them out. So this is actually the door. Actually, this one is the door that I originally had mounted in the master. And that's why the handles are on the same side, because I did want the handle to be over there. But I'm just going to build another door. I'll take one of these doors and put it over to this closet, and then so the handle will be on the right side over here, because one needs to be this way and one needs to be that way, so that way they can come together. So anyways, I'll go in here and talk about the master closet now. So this is the finished product, but before it was 6 inches more into the doorway, and that's as far as it can go. It's up against the trim on the bottom, and I didn't even have to put a stop. You see the stop at the top there. I didn't have to put a stop on that one because the trim stops it, and there's not even room to put a stop really. I could have arranged the bar. I could have arranged it maybe to get it over there, but I even had to take a piece off. So there's actually another piece that goes on that rail. I had to take a piece off so that way I could get it on studs. And I had to, I mean, this thing was a mess. I just hate this rail system altogether. So to start off with, I would suggest you never buy a rail that you have to piece together like this, because what happens is as you get to those spots, you feel it thump. And also it's hard to keep them level. They all kind of And if you were to look closely, it kind of goes in and out. I mean, luckily I got it to where it's working good, but they kind of shift up and down. And so in order to, I mean, here at the end, you know, here was the last stud. Well, I ended up putting a lag screw, an extra lag screw, which is not part of these, at the very end, because what was happening is I was pushing it down to the end and that one was dropping. Not only that, they give you these spacers, but and I did put spacers behind these, but even that wasn't enough because the back of the bolt on these was touching the trim. You can see this gap here is tiny. So what I had to do, I don't know if you noticed, I had to put an extra spacer on this side so I could tighten this down. And then what I did is I'll just turn this light on, is I made it to where the ends or the backs of the nuts sunk into the wood. So that way they would clear the trim. So that's with spacing this out more and then sinking the nuts in, it still barely clears. And it's like, man, it should come stock without putting spacers on to where it clears normal trim. And you might be able to argue this isn't normal trim, but I would say it's within the range of normal trim thickness. So I had to work on this forever. That's not even to mention that I was putting holes in where the original holes are, and obviously there weren't studs because it doesn't perfectly align. These are 16 inches apart. So if you find the first stud, but I had to make it align so it went all the way to the end. So I ended up having to re-drill holes. So that's why there's open holes on this, is because those are the original holes. I had to re-drill holes in this. So this closet door just gave me a ton of hell in general. But I was happy to find out that I had a more appropriate sized door for this opening. So in the end it worked out, but I mean this barn door hardware took me way longer than I expected it to. But this is a fully finished closet. And now I'm moving on to the other ones, which are a little more complex because, you know, I have two that are going to open outward away from each other, two doors opening out away from each other. And then the one I'm working on now is a bypass so they can go in front of each other, which is going to be interesting because that means the barn door hardware has to be kind of side by side, like two rails. And then the one thing I'm not sure about how that's going to work is pretty much all barn door sliders, or most anyways, have these little things that you put on the floor that slot through the door, or you can make them go around the door so that way it doesn't move too far in or out. I'm not sure how that's going to work on a bypass, but we're about to find out. Anyways, I just wanted to share, you know, I'm sure you probably noticed, I'm not sure if you could tell in the time-lapse video clips, but I was pretty frustrated with this door yesterday, and I was honestly not sure if I was going to be able to make it work, but in the end, luckily, I was able to make it work. But I just hope these other ones go a lot quicker today. I'm actually hoping I can kind of finish up the closets today, and that's really going to be the end of, you know, that'll be pretty much, will be complete. We still need to seal all the trim. Some of it's sealed, not all of it. My wife's been kind of going behind me. We still need to seal the deck, but obviously I'm probably not going to make videos on that. Maybe I'll include a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I'm going to call this complete. There is other work that you'll see me do in later videos, but this is mostly going to be, you know, what I call the completion, is when the closets are all fully done. You know, I want to do an awning out front that somebody else is going to build that though. Gutters. I am going to do the patio under the deck in pieces at some point. Yeah, I'll probably just include a little bit of that here and there in the videos, but mostly the shop build will be done. And I do plan on having a couple more specific videos about the shop. Just I won't be doing any more you know, full videos of working on the shop. So anyways, I'm gonna get to work on the other closet doors. Hopefully I can get a lot done today since I can't go to the lake. basically finished that closet up. I'm going to do a little more to it because I want more of the guides on the floor because the way it's set up right now, I was going to put some stops up here, but I don't know if I necessarily care about that. You know, this one goes this far to the trim. It stops on the trim, that's fine. This one goes all the way basically to that door stop there. I don't necessarily care if this one comes past that middle spot there. But it does, when it does that, it does come off of the track or the guide. So I want to just put some more, another guide further in, further over, like right here. But anyways, man, each of these closet doors has been giving me some crap. So this one was going pretty good initially, but then you probably see that, you know, there's holes, and that's because I think a lot of times they design these so that they're 16 inches apart, the manufactured holes. But in my case, those ones, that one lined up good with the studs. This one did not, neither did the other one, and I don't think the one downstairs is gonna line up. So I just drilled my own holes in the bar so that it lines up the studs. I think they design these so that you know, if it doesn't line up with the studs, you put a backer board on. But I just didn't like the idea of how that was gonna look. So I just drilled my own holes, and then, you know, you just get a little extra effect with having holes in the bar that you can see. But that was all fine. Took a little extra time. I don't think any of these are gonna go easily. But then I get my doors on, and I did the measurements perfectly. This is, they tell you to go 1 11/16 above the height of your door in the instructions. And I did 1 3/4. That's 1 extra 1/16 to give myself just that extra breathing room on the floor, right? But the thing about these doors is they come pre-drilled for these holes right here. So the thing that sucks is that worked great on all the closet doors up until these ones. This hardware that I bought, almost these pre-drilled holes in these doors matched up perfectly, even though I bought the doors entirely separately from the hardware. These ones, not so much. And you can tell by looking at these little kind of fail safes to keep the door from coming off the track. And you see the space there. When you come over here, it's a much bigger space. So basically, this hardware was not meant to go with the pre-drilled hole measurements that were on this door. So what I had to do, and what you probably saw, is I ripped the bottom, because the doors were sitting on the floor, basically, barely, but they were sitting on the floor. And then I had to get a little creative with the track. You can see I did it different, or the guide. You can see I did it on the outside there, and I put a little plastic piece on the front of the trim there. Anyways, got it to work. I wouldn't say I'm really happy with it, but I'm content with it. I just need to add a few more guides. And if I really don't like how it's working out, I could always add, it came with 4 stops. I'm only using 1 on that end. I could add 2 stops here so that those don't have the ability to come off of the guides. Now let's move on to this door. So you might notice something right away, but there's lots of stuff going on with this door. This one gave me all kinds of trouble. First of all, let's start in this corner over here. You can see that there is a nice big hole in the drywall. I did that on purpose, but you can see that to get this door closed, it goes into the drywall, and it's not even all the way closed. Like, I would like it to go a little further. I would like to go even a little further than that, but you get the idea. That's what's happening. I actually intended for the door that sticks out the furthest, the one that's in front, to be over here, but I could not fit the 5th bracket for the outside in this spot without making another hole in the drywall. So that's why that door is on that side, and it's probably going to stay there. I have come up with a little box so that I can make that look pretty. I'm actually going to put this black sealant tape all over this and make it look pretty and make it, I'm gonna put like a flange on it, and I'll put it up in there, and I think it'll look pretty close to like it was supposed to be, like that maybe. So that's how I'm gonna take care of that. But yeah, you can see that one gave me some hell too. Other than the fact that this one seemed like it was going great until I realized until I put a door on and realized that was gonna hit. I thought it was going pretty great. Because the bolt or the holes lined up with the studs, so I thought it was going pretty good. But obviously I ran into some trouble. If I'd have known this ahead of time, which I don't think you ever do know these things, I probably would have purposely boxed out a spot in the drywall here, and made it to where I could fit this bracket over here, and then this door on the front would go over here. And you may think, oh, that's not a big issue, but this is why. When you look at it from this side, you just see a big gap there, and if this front door was back there, you wouldn't see that. So it's just a little interesting things. That door had to be cut on the bottom, and it's a little bit of bigger gap on top. This one, and you can kind of tell because you can see the top of the trim there. Here, there's two doors, but even if you look at this door, that's the back one, you don't see the top of the trim. So it's different. So each one of these closets is giving me hell. In the end, I probably should have just gone with normal closet doors. That would have eliminated all of these problems. But it's a pretty good look, and that's kind of what I was going for. It's a pretty cool look. Really, I really feel like it goes with the rest of the house because we have little black accents everywhere. So the black rails, black handles. We're doing clear pine for the trim, so clear pine for the doors looks good. But yeah, these doors are taking me forever, and I still have one more just like this to do downstairs, and it's going to be a little different. I think it actually has a little more space than that on the one side, because that's something I didn't say either. I had to cut the end off of that rail, so you can see it goes. I cut about this much from here on off the end of that rail, and I think I pre-measured. I'll have to measure again. Each one of those rails is 66 inches, but I think I pre-measured downstairs, and I think it's gonna fit in there perfectly. Now the doors won't be able to open all the way, but they'll open plenty. In fact, you're actually seeing it almost all the way open right now. That's as much as you're gonna get an opening. That's all the way to the trim there, and I've got it to the stop over here. But you can see that's plenty big opening. Downstairs, I think it's actually gonna be even. And what I'm going to do, instead of ripping the bottom of the boards, the doors, downstairs, I'm just gonna mount this rail another, I think, 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch higher, and that should take care of the problem. The only issue with this, these bolts or the door holes being pre-drilled and not matching with this hardware, is these are meant to keep the door from coming off the rail on its own. Like if you hit the stop hard, they kind of jolt up sometimes. Let's show you. So you saw it kind of jolt up over there. So these are made to keep it from coming off the rails on its own. Well, they're not going to do that because there's enough space in between. Whereas if you look at these ones, there's barely any space between, so they do a better job of keeping them on the rails. So whatever, I'm just going to leave it like that. Another thing to point out is, had the holes not been pre-drilled in these doors, I could have moved these rails further in. Even if I really wanted to, I probably could have moved them really far in. I could add. You can have these set up to where the mount bars or wheels or whatever you want to call them are like in here, and that would make it to where I could go further over on this one, and just take care of certain little situations. But oh well, it is what it is. I'm done. I'll work on this another day. I'm actually just wrapping up for today. I'm working on the house. I'm really going to kind of be complete after I do some work on this hall closet. I'm just gonna put a couple shelves in there, and then I just need to do this barn door setup downstairs, and then put a shelf and a hanger bar in the downstairs closet. We'll do that next weekend. But right now I'm gonna clean up in here, and I'm gonna go down and pull the trailer out. It's been getting muddy because it's been so wet this June. So I'm gonna pressure wash the trailer for the boat. And then I think we'll probably end up packing up and leaving after that. So anyways, I just wanted to share these barn door sliders for the closets have been just kind of horrendous a little bit, you know, so fun stuff. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts on this video or ideas for future videos, please leave those in the comments below. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe and click on that notifications bell so you can be notified of my future videos. I'll see you next week.